My name is Duncan Schortanus. I work for Ratio Christi Canada and Ratio Christi International.
All right, what brings you to East Africa?
Well, I've been based out of Kampala, Uganda since the beginning of this year, working at a Christian orphanage while doing campus work with students in university ministry, like my organization.
That's great. So, how long have you been doing the campus ministry?
Well, almost a year now. Despite working for Ratio Christi Canada, most of my work so far has brought me internationally.
That's wonderful. So, today, how do you feel having come to Kenyatta University?
Oh, I feel amazing. I
Mhm.
woke up today and I went, today is going to be a good day.
That's great. We are so thrilled to have you today in our KU radio show, and we are an engaging discussion that will help people see that we can reach out to campus students and let them know they can have a foundation after school that can propel them in life. And that's so wonderful. What do you have to say?
I love everything you just said. I am looking forward to this discussion and both educating and bringing hope to students. My name is Duncan Schortanus. I am from Canada and I work with an organization called Ratio Christi. I work with my own countries, Ratio Christi Canada, and internationally with Ratio Christi International.
Wow, wow, that's wonderful. Now that you're from Canada, now how did you come to Africa? Or what motivates you to come to East Africa?
Very good question. I get sent on placements with my organization, Ratio Christi International, and we've had a loving interest to do ministry here in East Africa. So I've spent since the beginning of January of this year, I have been in Kampala, Uganda, both working at an orphanage in the area and doing on-site campus ministry. A bachelor's of science in biology and a bachelor's of theology degree. Currently working on my master's of theology. My organization, we are a Apologetics campus ministry. So what we do is we bring on campus ministers and leaders to go to universities and lead services, Bible talks, and sessions with students to talk about what is faith in God? What does that look like? And looking at people's questions they have when it comes to believing in God, believing in Jesus, holding on to our Christian faith, answering any objections they might have, and what does this worldview look like when it interacts with culture. So it's evangelizing, but it's also asking questions that come up when we evangelize. And that's my working definition for what is apologetics, or Christian apologetics. Which segues pretty nicely into why I'm here in East Africa. We have some chapters here in Nairobi already, but I have heard that there's lots of campuses that have had that interest in Kampala, so I have spent since, again, this January, to be on campuses to talk with students.
That's wonderful. That's great. And having such under you.
All the credit for that, but I can't. We've been in South Africa for a number of years now, and then in Kenya for about a year, over a year within that time frame. And I owe that to my international boss, Bill Scott, who he works in the US and he came to start chapters here in Kenya, and now we have leaders here. He's not living here right now, so we have people who live in the countries leading the chapters, but he started working and helping out Ratio Christi Kenya, and I went, wow, we want to get into Kampala, Uganda, so I came in the new year to help assist that chapter. But we've been here for a number of years here, and well, if we're looking at East Africa specifically, a little bit over a year, but I owe that to my predecessors, the legends before me who did all that hard work, and now I'm following in their footsteps. While I'm in Kenya, I'm being hosted by Ratio Christi Kenya because now they're an independent group. But while I'm in Uganda, Kampala, I'm hosted by a school called Agape World Mission, which is a Christian school for underprivileged children within the Kampala region, Nanja region of Kampala. I go on to campuses, I let people know that I'm in the area to go and speak. And going from there, I look to invite people to the ministry and then start up Ratio Christi Uganda, and then they start to work at it. We build up this ministry, and they become independent, so they can do this ministry. We're all connected through Ratio Christi International, but the hope is that they will have their own ministry and be able to support themselves. So yes, I'm going on and I'm speaking, but the idea is I'm partnering with universities by partnering with missionaries and campus ministers to be on those campuses. Because, I mean, I'd love to stay in Uganda for many more years, but the hope is have people who live there do that ministry, because eventually I'll be back in Canada and I hope to do Ratio Christi work in Canada. And so let the people here who live here do that work. So the process is connecting them with Ratio Christi International, and since I'm working with them, that's, pretty easy connection there. And then we will have them go through application processes and training. And right now we're at the beginning stages of making sure they're interested and then getting them connected to that training process. But to answer the question as more specifically as I can, yes, I'm doing training with them now, but it's more like getting them on board with Ratio Christi International and then building Ratio Christi Uganda out of that. So we would say Ratio Christi International is doing this work, and Ratio Christi International is helping start that national organization. I think of it as Ratio Christi International is the sower in the field. They're the guy that's going to these countries to get it going, and then once it's up, then the country, the hope is it's fully independent, connected by Ratio Christi International. But they are doing that work, getting that training, supporting themselves. I've been with the orphanage since the second week of January 2025. My work is both administrative, helping the organization, helping and teaching with the leadership, and also leading Bible study with the kids. The impact? It's one of those things in ministry that it's hard to describe unless you've done it. I'm working with some kids that live at the school, like a boarding school. I mean, their other students are their friends, their teachers is like family. So to come there and teach them, I want to talk about an impact. I'm going to carry that experience for the rest of my life of being with those kids that see this person come in and they cared enough to teach them. I think, I love what I do, but it's just my job. But to them, that's their life. It revolves around that school. So I'll be thinking about that for a very long time. So the university I went to had a partnership with another university. And they went, if you take your academic schedule, have no electives, and then dedicate body, mind, and soul for theology classes, then you can do both at the same time. So okay by me. I guess I'll do that. I hadn't been a Christian for long when I made that decision, and I thought a theology degree would help me out in my personal faith growth. By the end of it, I love science. It was my first love, but I went, this theology thing, this God thing, pretty good fit for me. Beyond that, I realized I can use my science degree to talking about the relationship between science and theology, and that I love doing ministry, so why not pursue that one further? A year and a half before I started my theology degree, I didn't grow up in the church. I grew up in a very loving Christian home, and even my parents would read me Bible stories at night, but faith was, especially where I'm from in Canada, it's a very personal thing. You don't really go out talking about it in public. You don't really see that many street preachers, maybe in the really big cities, but I'm from a smaller city, so it's never something that's made super public. You don't talk about that. You keep that to yourself. And growing up, I never really cared about Jesus. I didn't see why he was important. I thought he probably had great plans, but obviously I'm not important enough for him. I thought Christianity was silly, and I used to make fun of them, the philosophy. I thought, what a silly little religion. What silly little people. Boy, was I wrong. I went into my late teens. I was confused about life. I was uncertain. I started reaching for all kinds of meanings I could find in my life, because I used to think, I'm going to go to this school, do this thing, get married, buy a really nice car, big house, and that was my purpose in life. And then as I got older, I realized that didn't tell me about how I was supposed to live. That's just accumulating things. And so I started reaching out for different religions and different worldviews to fill that hole in my life. I tried all kinds of new age spiritualism, meditation, finding deeper truths within myself. I did that for about a year and a half. And if I examined myself, the more and more I looked, the less and less I liked the look of it. So I did it more because I thought there must be like some sort of deep-seated, eternal, wonderful thing inside of me that once I find that and let it grow, I'll become my superhuman true self. But that's not true, because human nature is sinful and we need Jesus to forgive us and live as an example. And so Christianity was the last thing I reached for. I thought, this religion probably isn't right. All these people seem to be losing their minds about it, but it's not for me. One of the last things I did was read my Bible. To me, that was fascinating. I went to church on Christmas and Easter, and I used to make myself try and fall asleep during Christmas and Easter services because I was bored out of my mind. Little fun fact, Christmas and Easter services are the most horrible time trying to fall asleep during church because they're the most active and lively church services. Little did I know, because that was the only time I ever darkened the door of a church. So I started reading my Bible. I thought, this is stupid, so I read it some more. I thought, this can't be true. So I read it some more, and more and more and more. And I found out that Jesus was reaching himself out to me, and he was calling me home.
At that point when you're trying to find your identity in faith.
So, in Christian Home, they both were believers, but faith wasn't central in their lives at that point. It is now. So it was really a miraculous thing where, as I started growing in my faith, they started growing in my faith. But for a lot of this, it was a solo journey until my parents started taking it more seriously too. And then, yes, they started leading me along. But for the first little bit, I thought meditation and New Age spiritualism and seeing myself as a god was the way to go. So I didn't reach out for my parents at all. What did they know? Little did I know that they would help me on that journey. Because it's a university ministry, they had a Ratio Christi chapter at the university I was attending, University of Crandall. And Apologetics was a big reason I became a Christian, because I had those questions. And I saw an apologetics group on campus. So I thought, hey, this Christianity thing's kind of neat. Here's a group that will help me work through my answers, work to get those answers, work through my questions. So might as well join them. I found out to love it. I ended up being mentored by a guy named Cody Guitar. He's my national boss now. He's the national director of Ratio Christi Canada. He poured his blood, sweat, and tears to help me and prepare me in the field of apologetics. And so I went, not only is this beneficial for my own spiritual life, but I can use this to help others. So I ended up doing that for my 4 years at Crandall. And by the end of it, I went, I like this. Why not do this more after? And then Cody sent the invite to me. He went, do you want to work for Ratio